What's up, Dream Warriors? Day 28 of the 31 Days of Dread is right here, and we're talking Ghastlies. Thank you, Amazon Prime, for making another suggestion, because I would have no idea that this movie ever existed. If you're into 80s small monster horror, we're talking ghoulies, we're talking gremlins, we're talking little tiny critters killing people for the 31 Days of Dread, the Dream Warriors annual podcast event. I'm Peter, I'm your boy, I'm your host. This is October. We're doing one horror movie a day for the entire month of October. And hey, we got ourselves a conversation piece here. So you already hear that music, you hear that spooky noises. Is that witch screaming yet? I don't know. Where is she? I think she's coming to get me. But hey, I'm just going to fade away, then I'm going to come back. Everyone, thank you for joining me. We're back. I'm Peter, aka AKAPAD, Peter A. DeLuca, your boy, your host, your horror aficionado, expert, obsessive individual. And we're here on Dream Warriors. This is, we're smack dab, not in the middle, but we're winding down. This is day 28 of the 31 Days of Dread. We got the next movie. I'm just going to pitch it right now because it really... I was gushing over it, but it's the 1989 Robert Englund Phantom of the Opera. And I'll also be doing, since I had almost like a week to do whatever I wanted to watch, whatever movie or TV series I was driven around. Because I spent last weekend recording at such a high capacity that I literally got a week ahead of the 31 Days of Dread, and now I'm like 1 or 2 days behind on releasing, and that's only because I dealt with a huge storage issue that came out of nowhere. I was convinced I had enough space. All my storage got redlined, and I had to scramble and redo my filing so I can continue to render files and release them. Because, keep in mind, I'm also doing other high-capacity, big file work. But anyway, but no, really seriously gushing over the Robert Englund Phantom of the Opera. So that's going to be day 29. That's going to be tomorrow. It's going to be fantastic. I just can't wait for it. I just really, really want to talk about that movie, and we'll bring Norman a little bit. We're going to mention Norm from the earlier episodes of Dream Warriors, because I was texting him about this, and we talked about this on day 27, which is a lot of the contributors of Dream Warriors may not be in front of me on the mic, but there's plenty of contributors that communicate with me through social media and text message on what some of the perceptions, through lines, ideas are around some of these movies, because it's good to go in to a movie sometimes knowing if some of your friends have seen it that are also aligned with just interest in absorbing as content wise as many movies into your system as possible. Huge storage issue. So a little bit of a slowdown. I did have to rush out to not Staples, Target, because here's the thing. So again, I'm coming to you from Center City, Philadelphia. If you didn't already know. And within the last 2 years, we finally got Target Expresses throughout the entire city, and they're literally popping up everywhere, and they are so convenient because they kind of have somewhat of an electronics section. Electronics in Center City, Philadelphia, along with a few other things, was always tough, and you literally had to rely on Amazon Prime to get anything into the city regarding electronics. But I was able to get like a 2 terabyte drive, and so when I do that, what I unlock is it's a Pandora's box, because it creates an avalanche of work that I have to do, because there's additional file management, movement. If I'm clearing out 1 terabyte drive, or even what's on my desktop for the Microsoft Surface Pro, because that's what I run everything through, it literally can take a few hours. And sometimes I only have a few hours to record my additional content, to shoot whatever videos I have outside my daily drawing and the 9 to 5, going to the gym, meal prepping, reading. Like these are the things that occupy my life. So anyway, so it's tough. But going into the drive conversation, okay? No, not the movie drive, the external hardware drive. There's ways to support me, and a lot of those ways are in this video, this description. And if you're on SoundCloud, you can actually click a link now, and it jumps right to my donation page. You can fund original content. You can help fund this show, because it does get expensive. It does add up, and I would like to build things up to the level where I can get someone part-time to start publishing my files, rendering my files, sound mixing my files, and with the file management, and to create additional content around the show. My Patreon is all about that. It's easy to find the link, but you can just find me on AKAPAD, and AKAPAD also on just about all social media: Twitter, Snapchat, AKAPad13, Facebook, Instagram, and AKAPad.com. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of dedication. And the 31 Days of Dread it's a symbol of that. And I do love it, because the movie we're talking about now, Ghastlies, 2016. We're doing 2016 movies back to back. My last movie, Train to Busan, was 2016. So we're seeing a high and a low of what gets released in a single year. So from what I could tell, I wanted to research this director, Brett Kelly. I couldn't find too much. He does have a YouTube channel. You can just find it at Brett Kelly Entertainment. He does short films, fan films. There's fake, not fake, but faux trailers. He did like a Justice League short film called, I think it was Coming Apocalypse. It was called Justice League: The Coming Apocalypse, which probably has more fan service than the Justice League movie. I'll say, because I kind of my sound wasn't on, but I kind of clicked through it real quick and was able to see some of the highlights. But yeah, and I've dug up it seemed like Ghastlies had a Indiegogo at one point, only raised $305 out of the proposed $1,500, which I would love to know if that was the budget for this. So there's some traction online with some reviews on this. I was going to maybe go through those later, just out of my own satisfaction, because there's few things to say about a movie like Ghastlies. So this goes very much in line with the my Bunnyman murders that I did last year for the 31 Days of Dread, which I think that might have been day 1 or day 2. But believe it or not, that I reviewed the sequel. I had no idea it was a sequel until later. Well, hey, that happens sometimes. So the Bunnyman murders was more or less of a definition of why films like that and filmmakers that were around that movie are important. And Ghastlies is no different. So Ghastlies came up as an Amazon Prime suggestion. I'm internally grateful for the suggestion, and I immediately got hooked on it because, look, the artwork, the poster, I watched the trailer. The trailer really didn't have too much, but it was kind of like evil, cute little aliens killing people, and I'm like, oh, holy crap. And it looked low budget, and again, didn't look like it was trying to be anything more than what I already saw. And I'm like, perfect, this is exactly what's in line with my views of horror, with what makes content like this work. And you could tell this was like a young filmmaker's film. I don't know how old Brett Kelly is. I should have maybe looked into it a little bit more. I apologize for that. And so I got it. It went right to my list. Okay, so originally, if you go back a couple episodes, we talked about Cat People, the erotic horror thriller, which blew my mind. The original movie for that was Terrifier. That's also available on Netflix. And I was between removing Terrifier and removing this to put in Cat People. I didn't. I thought going into this movie fresh, knowing kind of like what it was, that it's not this huge movie, was more important than Terrifier. Because to me, Terrifier at least looks like a pro shot movie. It looks like a complete story, and it looks like it has highs and lows, roller coaster ride with the plot. So I don't know. I mean, Terrifier also has a ton of attention. Ghastlies does not. And I'm like, this is a little bit what 31 Dread, 30, can I talk? This is a little bit of what 31 Days of Dread is all about. It's okay not always to do, The Exorcist. Okay, maybe we'll talk about The Exorcist. I don't know. I'm not really interested in doing The Exorcist for the 31 Days of Dread. I want reasons to do something that are beyond the benign, like dogmatic approach. We have to similar things than the 31 Days of Dread. Part of the 31 Days of Dread is the idea of horror, the idea of being scared, the idea of transporting yourself. Ghastlies doesn't do any of that, okay? Because, look, we all know where this conversation is going. Ghastlies is a tough movie to watch. It doesn't even sell the concept. It doesn't, there's zero exposition. Not that it needs much, but the little that it needs is not there. The exposition that is there doesn't come off. It's rough. Plot of the movie, I'm still somewhat confused on. It's a satanic ritual, and then aliens come and they kill satanic ritual people, and then it jumps into a girl dancing in her room, and she's doing aerobics, and she becomes topless, and then that goes into a car ride, which is somewhat creatively shot for the resources, I'll say. And then it goes from a car ride to a cabin in the woods. Perfect. That's where we want to be. And it's like, it's a girls' weekend or sorority girls based on the description, which you can tell. Like, they definitely have the sorority girl, look, the conversation. They do the chants. They the pi, sigma stuff. It's all there. It's all Revenge of the Nerds. And from that point, we get to the aliens, these little ghastly creatures. Okay, it takes way too long to get to the first death after what we see in the beginning of the movie. We were introduced with a few characters that are, kind of like, all right, now we're gonna have 4 to 5 deaths in this. We do have more, which, again, like, thumbs up. And so part of it, like, part of the original appeal for this, where there's like this purple ghastly creature that they designed that has like 8 or 9 eyeballs, and he looks perfect. And he originally looked like he was like the focus, because always with these little monster movies, there's always like one focus creature, okay? And that's very artfully done. Even like Critters kind of has like the one focus, or Stripe in Gremlins. Munchies has one with a similar stripe, and it goes on and on. And Munchies is probably my favorite. Munchies is just awesome. And and we don't get that, and the other two designs don't really fit. And the thing is, though, you need very little work to achieve something with what Ghastlies was going for. Simple shapes, bright colors. Some of the sound design is perfect, because like these creatures are almost like giggling in this very high pitched voice, very creepy. Like, all of that doesn't really come through. It hits a few times, like you kind of play with that chord a little bit, but it doesn't really come through. And like, that's almost like the plot. The plot is sorority girls, cabin, not too much nudity, bad acting, bad puns, but it works. It does work, because it makes it a little bit more fun. But we don't get enough of the creatures, of the mythology, and even like the way how some of the shots are stacked. Like, is it editing? I don't really know, because you don't know what. It's hard to say editing, because you don't know what the editor is dealing with. or the person in the editing role. Everyone acts like editing's like this thing and you have infinite footage. Some of the footage is what it is and what appears in the final cut. Sometimes it could be strictly just the best shots, the best cuts, and that's it, because like you still need a aesthetic approach. Things have to look and smell like a movie. And editing, sometimes just people come in way too hot with the editing comments. Same with the screenwriting comments, because you don't know how much of the script doesn't even end up in the film. You don't know what's decided on set for all kinds of good reasons, valid, unvalid, it doesn't matter, okay? And you can only look at the final product. You can't extrapolate the process into the final product, because we don't know. And just talk about Justice League real quick. Everyone wants this Zack Snyder cut. It may not be much different than the movie that we have, outside of a couple longer takes, longer shots. I don't like it's futile to debate that. Sometimes director cuts come out and you're just like blah, and sometimes you come out like a Kingdom of Heaven, like Suicide Squad. Not really. Suicide Squad director's cut isn't too different than theatrical. I would say you're fine just watching the theatrical. You're really not missing much. And and that's really what happens with a lot of director cuts. They're just like a slightly different take. They're not drastic. So we don't really know. We don't know what Brett Kelly left on the chopping room floor. The acting and the puns is just really bad. I don't know if it's the directing or who they chose, but I do think it works. I think the level of punmanship, the limited environments for the shoots, because they're shooting in such an enclosed environment. It's very interesting where he places the camera. Okay, so when you're watching this movie, try and keep note of where the camera is and where you would put it in something similar. Like I said, that the conversation in the car going to the cabin, it's the dialogue and the portrayal of what's happening is very, you're like, oh my god, this thing is horrible. But if you look at the camera and where the camera is and knowing it's in the car, it does make you think, and like you are like, okay, like there is something here. And it just sucks, because I really feel like this movie doesn't really know what it wants to be. Does it want to be like silly violent? Does it just want to be violent? Does it just want to be silly? Is it really is it part commentary on sorority life and fraternity life? There's a nerdy girl in the movie, and somewhat it's like, okay, is it a commentary on being an outsider? It's tough. These themes would have came through if this was like a Michael Bay movie, and it's a great example of like how Bay heightens stereotypes and personalities, so we know who these people are, versus when you dance on the fence and maybe go for too much nuance. And I would say like maybe that's the fault of the non-Ghastlies element in the movie Ghastlies. The human element doesn't really come through. It doesn't. It's undefined, and it's hard to follow it as an audience member. But at the end of the day, this is what I preach to you out there, all of you out there, because I know a lot of young dudes listen to this. Ghastlies is available right now on Amazon Prime. You should go and review it. Be kind. Find Brett Kelly on YouTube. Just search Brett Kelly Entertainment. Leave him comments. Subscribe to his page, because what he's done, what he's trying to do is exactly here. It's exactly what you're listening to. It's just someone that decided to start something, and it's like, shut up and do it. And so many people tell me throughout every single year, it goes on and on, the list just grows, of people who have ideas and passions and things that they want to do. And I check in with them and I follow up, because this is a part of my work. This is part of like what I do. And nothing comes about. Like laziness and fear and like anxiety like captures these people, and they're paralyzed by the difficulties of at least starting. I'm not even talking about making things work. I'm talking about starting and start to mold something. They can't even get that far. So the people who go out there and they have something, they have a product you can hold in your hands. The guys like Brett Kelly, they are heroes. They're warriors, and they're just doing something. They have a passion. They have ideas. They found out the technical aspects. They figured out the technical problems, and they're just doing it. It's like, shut the F up, and they're doing it. It's very important. Ghastlies is as important than any other film, like, period. Any other film you think is great, Ghastlies is equal to that, because it's a starting point for someone. And with that being said, everyone, thank you so much for joining me all this way for the 28 Days of Dread. We have 29 coming up. Robert Englund, Phantom of the Opera, a bloody gore fest movie that really flipped my lid. It blew my mind because I wasn't expecting it. Even though I recall that movie being promoted and advertised as violent, and I'm pretty sure that was on my don't see list one time from my parents, but I never got around to seeing it. How amazing is that? And we go forward 25 something years and you finally get to watch that movie. So it was very euphoric. I was very intertwined with that. Pretty much watched it twice. We're going to talk about that, but until then, thank you for the support. Thank you for joining me. I love you, and this is the 31 Days of Dread.